So I had made a Facebook post, for those of you who are friends with me on Facebook and follow my Facebook, about this topic, and I had pretty much gotten it all out of my system and was ready to be done with it. But I feel the need to get on here and talk a little bit more about this topic. Now, I've never really given my opinion on MrBeast, Jimmy, because, I've always kind of had, I would say, an unpopular opinion. Now, I don't watch his channel. I don't watch his content. I did go to his channel once or twice, clicked on a video or two, and it's not stuff that interests me in the slightest. I don't personally understand the appeal. I don't really get what makes the content particularly interesting or stimulating, or I don't get the draw of it. But given the situation at hand with his friend Chris Tyson or Ava or whatever the person's name is, I felt the need to come on here and talk about really what I've always felt about Jimmy and what I feel he's really all about. Which, up until this point, has been kind of hard to do, because if you give an opinion about MrBeast that isn't completely glowing and positive, people will probably cast you off as some sort of bitter asshole or some just heartless bastard, or someone who's very, very jealous, the typical, person, typical fan that defends the YouTuber that they love that's very, very popular and will come after someone who usually has far less of a following than this YouTuber does, and will just say, oh, you're just jealous, you're just this or that, whatever. I mean, it's such a cliche argument. But I always sort of kept my opinion to myself regarding MrBeast. Now, you might ask why I'm going after MrBeast here and not his friend. And really, that's because, what can you really say about this friend of his? This person is disgusting. If you ask me, they deserve to be lined up against a fucking wall. Okay? I think that anyone, any grown-ass adult who's going after minors and taking part in grooming, being blatantly inappropriate with minors, with children, I think at this point, the best way to handle these types of people is to just have them all lined up against a fucking wall. And I don't want to go off on a tangent, but I mean, time and time again, these people get caught. And sometimes they don't even get consequences, because for some fucked up reason, we don't take this shit seriously enough. Not nearly enough. I watch YouTubers who will do the whole catfish thing, where they'll lure these predators out. And half the time, the police don't even do jack shit about it. So we don't take this shit seriously enough. And when it is taken seriously, and when there are repercussions for it, usually after the worst thing possible has happened, we put them in, we deem them rehabilitated, and we let them out, only for them to do the exact same fucking thing again. So yeah, I think at this point, just put a fucking bullet in their heads and be done with it. Anyways, tangent aside, it's clear what my opinion on Chris Tyson is. I doubt anything is actually going to happen. Maybe it will. Hopefully it does. But I feel like there's not going to be that many consequences when it comes to this situation. But the reason that I'm talking about MrBeast, again, is to kind of give my opinion on what I've always thought about this guy. and for the fact that I believe that he is absolutely complicit. And with the amount of followers that he has, I mean, he's the most popular YouTuber, right? If not one of the most popular YouTubers. Imagine what him exposing a scumbag like this, like what that could do. He could easily come forward and, regardless if this guy has been his friend or not, come forward and expose this guy and make people aware of him. Or her, whatever the fuck. I don't really give a shit. But that's not what he did. And here's what I think. I think that Jimmy stood to lose too much. I think that he knew this was going on. I think that he was fully aware of what his friend was doing and that he was being inappropriate with minors. I think he knew the entire time. But I think he cared more about the bad PR it would get and the damage it would do to his brand and the impact it would have on his fame and wealth. I think that's what was going on. Because this is a guy, and there was a video, and if I can find it, I'll link it in the comments below. It was a good video, but this is a guy who, before he blew up majorly, and before people knew him as MrBeast, before he was where he's at now, this is a guy who would jump on most any popular trend or bandwagon that he could and just would try to milk the fuck out of it. This isn't a guy who ever had like an original idea for content of his own. From the beginning, it was clear that this guy was nothing more than an attention whore and a fame whore who wanted to grow a following from the very beginning, which he succeeded in doing, obviously. But there's a trend. You know, from almost the very beginning, that's what this guy was all about. Because again, jump on every popular trend, bandwagon, whatever, in order to get noticed. And for me, at least, it's not hard to put together. It really isn't. For a lot of people, for some reason, it is. But for me, it's really not all that hard to figure out what this guy is all about. Behind the smile, behind the public image, behind the wholesome public image. Because it's not like people online all the time can put on whatever face they want. People can put on whatever persona they want. They can have whatever type of personality they want online. They can turn on the camera and be a one person in front of the camera or on the microphone, whatever. But then when the camera's off, they can be a totally, completely different person. And it's totally not like we've seen examples of that time and time and time again over the years, where these well-known, popular YouTubers who have this, established image, they get exposed and it turns out that they're either a manipulative, slimy bastard at best, or, an absolute perverted piece of shit at worst. Yeah. I mean, we've seen it time and time again. I mean, this is how people get scammed online. People get scammed, catfished, all this shit from someone pretending to be someone else. You can't trust people online a lot of the time. Not necessarily 100% of the time, but a lot of the time you really, really can't. It's important to utilize skepticism when it comes to people online, and especially when it comes to well-known figures like MrBeast. So, yeah, I think that he knew this was going on. Now, you could argue maybe he didn't know to the exact extent, but I think that he knew enough. Now, I'm not saying that he personally endorses what happened, I'm not saying that MrBeast himself has some proclivities. I'm not saying that. I'm sure that he probably does personally oppose this, but I don't think that he cared enough to do anything about it up until now. Because up to this point, he was able to be hush-hush about it. But too many people have spoken up, and there are too many receipts out there, and things have gotten bad enough to the point to where he was probably like, well, fuck. Well, now I gotta say something. Now I gotta release a statement. Because otherwise people will really think I'm a bastard. And so he released his statement on Twitter. But I think he knew this was going on. Because I think he cares more about his good PR, his image, his fame. I think he cares more about all of that than standing on any sort of principle. You know, there are people who say that he didn't come out about it because if he did, and did distance himself from his friend, people would accuse him of being transphobic. And all I have to say to that is, oh, whoop-de shit. You piss off some woke skulls, because that's what they are. Who gives a shit? It's better to piss off idiots than to allow something like that to continue to go on. Because you're too afraid that if you do something about it, it's going to ruin your brand, your image. And so instead you choose to be absolutely fucking spineless because, I can't make people mad. People might get the wrong idea about me. Even though I think now people are probably getting, or not the wrong idea, the right idea probably. But, yeah, it's bullshit. And I know that MrBeast has been criticized before. Not entirely fairly, I don't think. You know, when it came out that he was, donating a lot of money, or he was helping, like, blind kids out, or paying for, like, surgeries for blind kids and stuff, and going to, I think, Africa, and helping to build, like, wells and stuff, and all this crap. I shouldn't say crap, but you know what I mean. He was doing all that, and people were criticizing him and saying that he just wants to make money. Now, you know what? I've got nothing against people wanting to make money. Okay, everyone makes money. Everyone wants to make some money. You have to make money in this world. As long as you aren't stealing or murdering people or engaging in some sort of very fucked up exploitation, which, I mean, you could technically argue that MrBeast kind of was to an extent, but whatever. I've got nothing against people making money if it doesn't involve any of that shit. Or if it doesn't involve some illegal thing, you know. But, yeah, so some of the past criticisms, and I remember because a lot of people were coming to his defense. And, I kind of thought it was bullshit too, even though, I had, like I said, I'd clicked on a video or two, and I had seen MrBeast, and I had seen the smile and stuff, and, my immediate thought was, this guy is just putting on a face, putting on an image. That's it. This guy is as fake can be. Because, again, before he was MrBeast, before everyone knew him, he had the personality of a dish rag. Which is probably why it took him a while to grow this following and grow, because he had to create an image. He had to create a face. Because before, I mean, you can go back and look at how he was before and how at his presence, his camera presence, whatever you want to call it, it just wasn't there. So he had to create an image for himself, a face. Which is my issue with a lot of big popular YouTubers, is that they're not real. They're not their real selves. They don't go, when they're making videos or doing streams or whatever, they're not really being themselves. They're putting on an image. They're putting on an act. Whether it's to be more entertaining or whether it's just to put what they want people to think out there. which is one of the reasons why I like Critical a lot, Charlie, because I believe that when he gets in front of the camera and talks, he's being himself. He's not trying to put on a fake persona or whatever. He's just being himself, which I respect a lot. But I think that a lot of these big popular, and this doesn't just go for YouTubers, it goes for celebrities, actors, musicians, certainly politicians, absolutely. Anyone with name recognition who is any amount of famous or well known mostly does that. And with actors and politicians, I kind of get it, you know. But with YouTubers, it's like you're fucking making videos. You happen to have a big following, yes, but you're making videos and you're making content. Why can't you just be yourself? But again, I'm getting off another tangent. But point is, when I found out who MrBeast was and I, checked out some of his stuff briefly, I feel like I kind of just saw right through the act. I saw right through the bullshit, the smoke and mirrors. And so many people are bought by that, are taken in by that too much. They can't stop and think for a second. You know what? I don't think this person is being entirely genuine. And look, when it comes to the charitable stuff, I can agree. It's good that those things were done regardless of the motivations, regardless of the agenda behind it. It's good that he did the things that he did. I'm not going to say that they weren't. It's good that he did those things. It's good that those children were helped, that the people that were helped in his endeavors with those things, it's good that that happened. I'm not saying that it wasn't. And as far as him doing it for money, I mean, again, like I said, I've got nothing against making money. I will say that I don't think it was out of a sense of genuine wanting to do well. I think, again, it was the same thing. It was out of want to generate good PR for himself, to further cement that image of himself as this great, wholesome guy. I mean, what a great guy, Look what he's doing. And it makes him almost bulletproof against criticism. Up until now, hopefully. So, yeah. And, I have to say this. I don't know this for fact. Of course, this is just me theorizing. But based on what I've seen, based on what I know of his past online presence and what he would do. And based on, I've watched some of the videos and people include receipts. There are tweets, they're out there, of this friend of his being inappropriate, acknowledging that he's, not acknowledging, but talking about the inappropriate stuff he's doing, and MrBeast kind of just enabling it. They're out there. People are making videos about this stuff, and the tweets are out there. There's receipts out there of this. So it's not hard for me, at least, to put all this together. And it shouldn't be hard for a lot of other people to do the same. And I think that with this situation, people should learn to be more skeptical of figures like MrBeast. Don't be so quick to buy into the bullshit, the smoke and mirrors, the PR, the image, the artificial shit. Exercise some skepticism. I'm not saying that you have to automatically assume they're an asshole with ill intentions, or maybe not ill intentions, but with less than a good, genuine motivation behind what they're doing. And I know I probably come across as very jaded in this video, and maybe I am, but I just grow more and more skeptical of this type of stuff. And one last thing. I said this in my Facebook post, and I'll say it here. Any grown-ass adult who is running a Discord server, who brings in young minors into their server knowing that they're young minors, anyone who does that should be suspect. Anyone who does that should be suspect. Now, it's one thing if you bring in someone not knowing that they're a minor beforehand. Maybe they lie about their age, whatever. That's one thing. But when you find out about it, they need to be kicked. You know, or if maybe they're a family friend and you know them, actually know them personally, or they're maybe a brother or sister or some sort of family member. But even then, they shouldn't be brought into an environment with grown adults. They should be suspect in the grown-ass adults who talk about inappropriate shit in the presence of a child, because that's what they are. And you say, well, they're a teenager, they're a kid. Anyone who's doing that should be suspect too. Anyone. I mean, how many fucking times does this have to happen again and again and again? You know, this fucking nefarious person brings in young people into a server, and then later on it comes out that there are, you know, allegations, at least, of grooming, inappropriate conversations and comments. I don't know what the solution is to take action against this, but there needs to be one, and it needs to stop happening. So, people just need to be more cautious about all online stuff. And again, when it comes to public figures like MrBeast. So, I'm sure I'll probably get some shit for this video. I'm sure that I'll probably get some fans that or maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. But that's my genuine opinion. I'm sure that some will disagree with it, and that's fine. And, you know, at the end of the day, I'm just some person who speaks his mind on this channel of mine. It's not as if this is going to destroy MrBeast's career. He'll probably never even see this video. He's got all this money, all this fame. It's pathetic how people lionize celebrities that will be just fine if they get criticized, but people lionize these people and jump to defend them. It's just, I don't know, it's kind of, as I've gotten older, it's gotten more and more pathetic. So anyways, don't want to go on another tangent. That's it for this one. Peace, and hopefully I'll be back soon. Take it easy.